What's going on, guys? Welcome to the very first episode with What's New with the Crew. So, What's New with the Crew is my new series. The Crew section is a sub-series of the main series. What's New With is my brand new series in where I tell you the latest and greatest details and information about the latest and greatest games, or games about to be released, and building up to the launch of them, because everybody likes that. So, the Crew, fantastic racer, going across the whole of bloody America. That's that racer that's pretty much going to fix a lot of what Need for Speed has broken in the past few years, and improve it even more so, by literally listening to what we want and so on. So, without further ado, I'll get into some juicy details that I've got. I've got quite a few details which I'll be covering over the next few episodes, but when it goes dry, the series will slow down and pick back up once we get some more information. That's kind of how this What's New with Detailed Information show works. Maybe it'll carry on after the release, depending on how successful and how supportive the developer is after the game has released. So, let's start off with the cameras. So there is going to be a cockpit camera in the Crew, which is awesome because it shows that fine detail of next generation, shows off that the limitations of old are no longer an issue. Say for example on Grid 2 it was delayed, the cockpit view was removed, I believe, and a few other games as well have the cockpit removed, mainly because of console limitations and so on, and they really don't want to take away too much from the experience other than the actual, obviously, they don't want to take away the driving or something from the visuals or anything that's really noticeable. Whereas the cockpit view it's a thing to miss, but it's nothing required. It still has a HUD cam and a few other things. So as long as you have those, it makes sense. But now it's showing that we're actually in the next generation. We can put cockpit views, very detailed cockpit views, in pretty much every car possible, and still have an open world as huge as the Crew, 5,000 kilometers and squared, and we still got all these little fine details such as the cockpit view and a few other things as well, which kind of makes me excited for the future of next generation games, not only just the beginning with the Crew and so on. So, how important are the driving physics going to be? Are they going to focus on more simulation or arcade style games in terms of physics? So in terms of handling, the Crew offers an action driving type of gameplay, so arcade. And we're focusing efforts to recreate believable driving sensations no matter what terrain. Note that each car feels unique, giving the player a wide variety of driving sensations, which is great news because that means that all cars are going to feel different pretty much on paper. That's what it means. So pretty much all of the games today do feel a bit different to do with cars, but I believe the Crew will do something magnificent when it comes to that sort of stuff, because the guys at TDU2 and so on, all these guys that have been put together to develop the Ivory Tower studio, these guys are extremely talented. They've got people from Rockstar, they've got people from, they developed Test Drive Unlimited 2, Eden Games, they've got people from, I don't know who it is, but someone from underneath the speed. I'm hoping it's Black Box. These guys are really talented, really passionate about this, and obviously these guys are obviously wanting to give you the proper details of what the cars are going to be like. Each car needs to feel unique and different. It's pretty much, I could pretty much say they're very anal about everything. So it kind of makes me happy that this is going to be the case, because not many developers are really into it that much, and it seems that recently the Need for Speed developers aren't really into racing, which is kind of worrying, but yeah, it seems like they're more into firing pursuit tech at each other and so on. Yeah. Anyway, so is the Crew going to have a damage model? It is going to have a damage model. Now, the damage model is obviously, I don't know, it's not really shaped. It says one thing somewhere, and somewhere it says other things. But what we've got right now, the latest information, is the Crew will include a full damage system via a gorge. It will diminish over time. It'll diminish each time the player hits something, the amount of damage received depending on how big the crash is. The bar will then replenish by itself until a certain point. That point being reached faster and faster as time goes by. After some time, the car will need to be repaired. Handling will be affected by the damages, but only when they become pretty significant. the cars will get scratched or dented, the bumpers will fall off or break off, and if your vehicle is in bad shape, some scraping or squeaking noises will be heard as you drive around or brake. So it sounds like a pretty cool damage system. A damage system that adds something to the game rather than takes stuff away, as in the Need for Speed of late. Except for Rivals. Rivals added the damage system in. Well, it didn't add it in. It was in Need for Speed at that point. But the damage system wasn't anything new to the series, but they used it in a cool way. More like a Dark Souls thing. If you die, you lose it all kind of thing. So if you spent a couple of hours getting speed points and then you damage your car, you've lost everything, which is very frustrating. But it did kind of at times, I think, feel like a bit too much. But in the Crew, what seems to be the case is that it's going to just make your handling a bit off. You're gonna turn to the side every now and again, or you're gonna hear a squeak in your car, and actually feel a worthwhile damage system added into the game, but nothing too over the top to pretty much take you out of the race because you crashed and you want to see yourself flying through the air. Now that brings me on to another point. I really hope there's no Criterion style crashing in this game, because as much as I like to see cars crash, I don't like to sit there and watch them for about 20 seconds. My own car be crumpled while everybody is flying down the road. So if you've got Criterion crashing in there, no thanks, just get rid of it. So will the wipers, indicators and clutch be functional? Players will not be able to activate wipers and indicators manually. However, if you play with the wheel, the clutch will be available, and I'm pretty sure people will be happy to know that the clutch is in the game if you use a racing wheel. I personally do not use a racing wheel, but I'm pretty sure to the fans that use that racing wheel will be very happy to do that. I'm considering getting a racing wheel at some point in the future though, because it does make sense. I'm doing majority of my channel is to do with racing, so it makes sense to at least get a bloody racing wheel, because I've never actually really experienced racing via a wheel. I have a bit of Gran Turismo 5, but nothing that's really on a level that I would normally do. Obviously, something like Need for Speed and a lot of others like that force you to drift as of late don't really make sense to use a wheel. Whereas Gran Turismo makes total sense to do a wheel, whereas I'm not into track races that much. So I'll kind of just wonder and decide and maybe pick a racing wheel up towards it, but it is a very nice thing that they've got that in now, and well, there you go. So, how realistic are the car sounds? The car sounds have been captured from real cars, so that is good news. It's nothing really new. A lot of people literally just capture the sound of the cars. Really, it's just depending on the amount of microphones, the quality of the microphones. There's no real way for them really to say, this is how good our audio is. We have to literally wait and listen, because there's no way, as I said, that we can literally guess or predict. Even if they told us the amount of the microphones, the time of day, everything, there's just no way we can calculate the exact sound. But what I believe is there's never going to be a terrible sounding game. I mean, if we can put up with the vacuum sounds from Gran Turismo, I'm pretty sure we can put up with shite. I mean, it's going to be decent, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, Test Drive sounds were pretty great, so I'm just assuming a lot of this stuff is going to be like Test Drive, because of how the majority of this is Ivory Tower, and the majority of the team is, my guess, a lot from Eden Games developing Test Drive, because it does feel like a big game like Test Drive, the Test Drive developers would put together, because it sounded good, it sounded very great. I was very happy with that game, and pretty sure I'll be happy with the Crew, because it is shaping up to be a fantastic game. So this one I'm a bit 50-50 on, and I'm going to leave it on this for the episode. So, will you be able to fast travel from the beginning of the game, or do you have to unlock the locations first? The fast travel feature will take you to the location that you've already visited, and this will be available in the first stages of the game. So this, as I said, I'm pretty mixed on. I'm not one for fast travel, but obviously if it's going to take you about 2.5 to 3 hours to get across the map, I'm pretty sure a fast travel option is going to be needed at some point. Now, it does say that they did reply saying that the fast travel feature will take you to locations that you've already visited. Now, this I'm not too sure on. Will this provide us with fast travel to all types of places possible, like garages, events, everything? Or is it going to be limited to personal garages we own, like in Test Drive Unlimited 2, that sort of thing. There's not too much information on that, but what we can go from all the Q&As that I've read through so far would be that we can literally spawn to all garages, all event locations. Maybe there'll be some specific places that we can spawn, maybe garages that we don't even own, kind of thing. Maybe we just unlock the garages. You know, from what I'm guessing, we just literally spawn in a garage that we find throughout the map, which I'm not too hatey about, but I would much prefer to have the house style buying and stuff on the Test Drive Unlimited 2. But that didn't go down with a lot of people, and obviously that would mean you know, avatar creation needs to be done. Quite a lot more stuff needs to be put into it in the casinos and stuff, whereas this is just a straight down racing game that I'm really looking forward to. So the Crew is shaping up to be a fantastic race. I'm pretty sure you guys are pumped for it as I am if you're really missing out, because it is seeming like they are listening to all the Underground 3 chants and really just producing what we want from Underground 3, but calling it a different name because they don't own Need for Speed. But hopefully this taught you a bit more about the Crew. I'll be doing these over the next few weeks and months and years, okay, months, until the Crew is released, because I am as excited for the Crew as everybody else, and there's a lot of information that I didn't know about until recently, so I thought I'd share that. So I'll be doing this series on a few games, including Drive Club and so on, if we get more details with that. But if you want to change anything about the show, make sure to let me know in the comments below as always, and thank you for the support as always. This has been What's New with the Crew, and I am BlackPanthaa. I will see you in the next video, guys. Thank you for the support as always. Peace.